Elif Shafak is Turkey's most popular female writer. She has also gained fame abroad, not only for her literary accomplishments, but also because of the lawsuit brought against her in Turkey, because in one of her novels she refers to the mass killings of Armenians in 1915. That is in The Bastard of Istanbul. The suit was dropped. We met up with Shafak in Lyon, France, where she was attending a book festival, and asked her about her impressions of Europe, her writing and culture. Elif Shafak, welcome to Euronews. Why are you so in favor of European Union membership for Turkey?
Europe needs Turkey too. We all face the same dilemma. What kind of world, what kind of future do we all want? Europe has to ask itself this question too. Do we want to live in a world where everybody looks like each other, thinks in the same way and dresses in the same way? Or do we believe in the energy and synergy that people from different backgrounds and cultures may create in coming together around common values, while also accepting the differences? In this regard, I believe Turkey may contribute a great deal to Europe, with its very dynamic and young population and its very rich culture.
What will both sides gain from such a coming together?
If you talked to a politician, you'd probably get different answers. The language of politics is different. We and they, I and other are the main players in politics. Politicians always create and need an other. But writists and artists cannot. There is no other for me. As a writer, I must be able to build bridges between myself and others. No culture can prosper by isolating itself from others. Different entities must be able to come together and create something beautiful together for cultures to increase their prosperity.
Do you think Turkey is culturally ready for that sort of coming together with the West?
Certainly. Turkey is a European country. But of course this doesn't mean it's like Norway, for instance. Turkey's a country of great synthesis. It has colours from its Ottoman, Islamic and Eastern past. But at the same time it's a country which Western culture has enriched. This is a great synthesis in itself. I believe the polarization which took place after 9/11 did not do the world any good. There's been so much talk about the so-called differences between us and others, Islam and Western democracy. There are people who believe in the clash of civilizations, but there's no such thing. The meeting of cultures is a far bigger reality. The spirit of our time tells us so.
What do you think of those who see Europe as a Christian club?
There are various tendencies in Europe itself. Europe does not have only one voice. And besides that, it has a very large Muslim population within it. It keeps taking in immigrants, which shows it is cosmopolitan. That's why I believe Europe has the power to digest all these differences. We should not disregard this point. I don't think that a Europe of only one colour and one voice will do any good to Europeans.
We've been witnessing a political transformation in Turkey. As a writer, do you also see a transformation of outlook?
There's an incredible dynamism in Turkey. Writing and reading novels is the writer's job. Most readers of novels in Turkey are women. They're the ones who keep the literature world in Turkey alive. Europe is not all that aware of this dynamism, and I find it very ironic that we do not know each other well enough, even though we're so close geographically and so interrelated. How well do the Germans know the Turks or the French? How well do we know them? We should be able to move beyond clichés.
What's the role of literature in this?
I believe the literature should take no sides. It should not alienate masses, but make them meet. That's why I say the mission of a writer is not to push people aside, but to build bridges. This is especially so in storytelling. Stories are so universal and human that they require no visa or passport. They travel constantly around the world because empathy is the essence of storytelling.
Your latest novel, The 40 Rules of Love, which tells a love story in the light of Sufism, has been a big success both in Turkey and abroad. Why? Do you think people are hungry for this kind of love that goes hand in hand with spirituality?
We try to understand what comes next, after this life. We try to make sense of life, death and love, and the coming together of lovers. They are universal issues. Sufism is well known, but not as well as it should be. I tried to approach the concept of love from different angles. I looked at it a bit from the East and a bit from the West. I looked at it in today's world, and I went back to the 13th century. I tried to look at love in both its material and spiritual dimensions. I tried to make them all meet in the novel.
You once said East and West are illusional concepts we created in our minds. Meaning what exactly?
If you perceive the world just as a political map, you can draw boundaries very easily. But if we perceive the world from a humanistic and cultural viewpoint, how can we draw boundaries? Everything is so connected. We should see this. Everybody's stories are interrelated, especially after 9/11. Our fates became interrelated. Unhappiness in Pakistan affects happiness in Canada. A financial crisis in America depresses people in Russia or China. We're living in a world where everything lives in everything else's embrace. This has always been so, but we've just realized it.
You write your novels both in Turkish and English. Are you the same Elik Shafak in both languages, or do you change when you change language?
I write in English because I like traveling between languages, cultures and cities. When I write in English, my mindset is mathematical, but I have an emotional connection with my writing in Turkish. When changing languages, we enter the labyrinths of other languages. We start talking with the rules, with the melody of the new language. I mean that we're not master of the language. It's the language that shapes us, our imagination and our mindset. So yes, one does change when the language one is using changes. Thinking, daydreaming and even dreaming in more than one language contributes to who we are. We live in an age of constant mobility, of nomadism. That is the reality of our time.
Elik Şafak, çok teşekkürler.
Ben teşekkür ederim, sağ olun.